Hello beautiful people, happy Saturday and welcome to your practical application of astrology and my personal story share. If you are waiting for the astrological forecast for next week, it already was recorded yesterday and it's been uploaded, but it will be released tomorrow because of course it's predominantly focused on the new moon in Pisces, which is not going to be taking place until Sunday, a week from now, Sunday the 10th of March. So I thought I release it a week before, which is already quite ahead of the time. So if that's what you're waiting for, stay tuned. It will be coming out tomorrow. But this is your practical application of astrology, where I'm going to be talking about aspects that just took place this last week. And of course, we just transited from the month of February into month of March. So we are already almost one quarter through 2024. Can you believe it? Like literally the past 2 months just disappear in front of our eyes. And of course, now being in a Pisces season, the time is going very differently because the veils are very thin, and also heading towards the new moon in Pisces when the moon is losing light, and new moon in Pisces, it's the veils are very thin, so the reality might be a little bit different, a little bit weird at the moment. And of course, being in a month of March, there will be a lot of shifts and changes. There will be a change of season. We'll be approaching equinox, eclipses, all the rest of it, and that's all we're going to be covering throughout the month. But for now, I just want to focus and give gratitude for the month of February. And because we are in a leap year, we had the leap day, the February 29th, which only happens every 4 days. So everything is happening this year. 4 days, it's happening every 4 years. So everything is happening this year. Literally, it's all happening. So anyway, let's just go back in time, and we entered this week, today is Saturday when I'm recording this, so we entered this week still with the moon in a sign of Virgo, because we just had the full moon in Virgo a week ago. And on the same day, on Monday 26th, moon then moved into a sign of Libra. But we had quite a lot of aspects actually that took place this week. On Tuesday, we had the Mars square to Jupiter. Mars is the ruler of the North Node, the ruler of the South Node. Venus square Jupiter during the full moon in Virgo. And then on Wednesday was a super busy day. We had a triple conjunction, Mercury conjuncted Sun, Mercury conjuncted Saturn, and Sun conjuncted Saturn. So a lot of new cycles began on February 28th. And then on the leap day of the leap year, on February 29th, which was on Thursday, the day of Jupiter, Mercury made a sextile to Jupiter and Venus made a sextile to North Node. And then yesterday, on March the 1st, Sun made sextile to Jupiter, and Venus, as the ruler of Jupiter, made a sextile to Chiron. So these, of course, are the last sextiles that are encouraging us to release that which no longer serves us and resonates with us, and it potentially keeps us feel disempowered because it's like something that is outdated, Aquarian flavor, that we want to break out of and go into this new cycle that is opening up for us. As we can see, there are already new cycles that began this week, but everything is always happening on the top of each other. Like there are always new beginnings and endings happening simultaneously. And then today, Saturday the 2nd, we had moon moved into the sign of Sagittarius, which is really good because I don't know how about anybody else, but me being moon in Cancer, I'm very sensitive to the lunations, and every time the moon is in the sign of Scorpio, I feel really like intense. So I'm glad moon is now in the sign of Sagittarius, where moon will remain until Monday. So yet another week we're going to be ending, a new week will be beginning with moon in a mutable sign, this time Sagittarius, all about learning and expansion. And of course we had all these aspects to Jupiter, and also when I was recording my video yesterday, there was all these Jupiterian topics. I was like, why am I tapping so strongly into Jupiter? And next week there are no aspects to Jupiter, but of course the week is beginning with moon in a Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, and Pisces traditionally was ruled by Jupiter. So, and I mean, it still is, if you follow traditional astrology. The modern astrology is Neptune, of course. So there is a lot of learning. There is a lot of learning and growing through the experiences we are having right now in the real time. And that's actually what I'm going to be talking about here. And then tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to have Venus square Uranus. Venus is the ruler of Uranus, and Uranus currently is the ruler of Venus, while Venus is in the sign of Aquarius. So this is the last quarter square. Again, we want to release something. This is the crisis in consciousness, so the cycle can end. The two are going to have a conjunction. I believe it was May, in the sign of Taurus. And yeah, and that will be that. That will be ending the week with Moon in a sign of Sagittarius and entering a brand new week. And like I said, the astrological forecast for next week has already been recorded. So if you would like to hear all about that, including the new Moon in Pisces, then the video is coming out tomorrow. And also my collaborations with my friends will be coming up later on next week, because as I mentioned, the Moon is not until Sunday. So it's kind of like all it's like towards the end of the week. So anyway, guys, so this is it with regards to the technical jargon and astrology. So this week, as I might have mentioned in my previous video and also in my collaborations, I was actually undergoing a cleanse. I had never done a detox in my life, like literally never. I eat very healthily. I mostly eat just fruit. I'm a vegetarian, sometimes even vegan, actually most of the time. And it doesn't really matter. I don't actually put any labels on myself. Every now and again, I still have sushi. So that's what I mean. I don't like putting labels on myself, because I go from pescatarian, vegetarian to vegan and back and forth. And I don't judge people who do whatever they do with whatever they eat. I am not that kind of spiritual person to go casting judgment on people's food choices. But all that said, I got inspired because being in a Pisces season, and of course we had the full moon in Virgo, and Virgo is all about detox and, like shedding the things, cleansing and stuff, cleaning. So I got inspired and I tried this detox that I was being recommended. It was meant to last for 10 days. Well, I was able to manage 5. As I mentioned, it was the very first time in my life that I've ever done anything like that, because as I started saying, I'm very, very super conscious about what I eat, even though my weight fluctuates, which actually doesn't have much to do with food, because I don't really make much of a change in my diet. I'm a very boring person with regards to what I eat. This was a different experience for me, and like my friends were a little bit concerned for me, because like, oh, are you sure not eating nothing for 10 days, just drinking and stuff, drinking this lemon juice, and I was like, well, I channeled a message for myself, and the spirit gave me a green light, like, yeah, go ahead, like go and do it. And it was more about what I was being guided to, was about a reset, that it's going to help me to reset. And I can definitely confirm that that's exactly what happened, because even though I am a Taurus, and many times in my life I had my friends or people who know me commenting that you are a very weird Taurus because you're not much of a foodie. Like I don't cook, I am not much of a gourmand. I don't really care so much about food most of the time. Like I said, I eat very boring food, very simple, more or less always the same thing. So I always been told that I'm a very like weird Taurus, which makes sense because my Taurus house is intercepted. It's invisible. But what really this 1 week, like 5 days of not eating taught me was to really appreciate the stuff that I do enjoy eating. So it was very interesting because there are a few factors, and I'm going to tie up into how does this actually connect to astrology, because people, what is she on about? Like, why is she talking about diets, and cleanses, where how does this has to do with astrology? But I'm gonna get there. But if you are being bored, then just tune in tomorrow for my astrological forecast. But I just wanted to share these thoughts because as I assume majority of people that watch me are women, I'm pretty sure at some stages in every woman's life we do try diets and detoxes and stuff. And even though we are not in Virgo season, we are in a Pisces season now, which is all about release. What are we releasing? What are we letting go of? What are we shedding? So with this 1 week of experience of about 5 days of not eating, what I really experienced were a few things. So first of all, I realized how much more time I have, like at least extra 2 hours every day when I'm not eating. Like, look at all this extra time I have. I don't have to go food shopping. I don't have to prepare any food. I don't have to eat any food. So I'm like saving all this time that I normally, spend with regards to food, right? Then the other thing I noticed was that I actually started losing joy. And I'm not saying that, of course, I'm not saying that, life is all about eating. Like, I will be the last person to say that, because seriously, for me, I eat to survive, not live to eat. Like, I eat to live, not live to eat. Like, that's what I mean. I'm a weird Taurus. However, the one thing I really observed as the time was going on, and I wasn't really impacted as much with the energy levels and stuff, because I did have an energy and I actually got a lot done because I had all this extra time, but I was just much less inspired to go anywhere, much less inspired, to, like, it's just, life just became a little bit, which is quite interesting because my friend actually said to me that, well, after 3-4 days, everything will be much sharper and your vision will be much better and everything will be much more vibrant. But because I mostly just eat fruit anyway, like, I feel that that's what my life is all the time anyway, so I didn't really experience any change with that regards. But what I actually did experience was that a lot of things became kind of there was a lot of joy being lost. There was a lot of joy being lost. So, for example, like when I go out to the town, I'm always excited that I go to my vegetarian buffet where I go twice a week. And it just gives me something to look forward to. And I don't know, it's for a lot of people. Like, I know a lot of people are looking forward to, like, when they treat themselves or go for meals or go to restaurants or whatever it is. Like food is a part of human experience. It is part of what, what we enjoy while we be in a human body. And that's something that I really observed, where before, as I just said, I'm not much of a foodie and I don't care so much about, what exciting food am I going to eat? For me, it's always the same thing, right? But this week, when I was not eating any food, I actually started appreciate it so much more. And I just literally had a bit of a papaya this morning for breakfast, because I need to start slowly just with the fruit. Oh my god, it tasted so much better. I really savor it, whereas normally I'm eating and watching something on my phone. I'm definitely, I'll put the hand up, I'm guilty of that I am not savoring the food, I'm not spending time, I'm not being grateful enough, really. So this is something that I really learned, and I mean, it's obviously like done, probably most of you think that, well, of course, like how comes that you didn't know this before, right? But there are these different aspects of it, there is the aspect like, yeah, I have so much more time to do things, even though I used a lot of it to meditate, but then there was a lot of joy being lost. And this is where I really feel that everything has to be in balance, everything has to be in moderation. So, what is it that makes you happy? And I'm not saying, obviously, I know for, as I mentioned previously in my videos, some people have like really unhealthy relationship, with food. And I know for a lot of people, it's even very sensitive subject, as it is for me, because I did have eating disorder when I was a teenager. So, food was always quite a sensitive subject for me. But, everything has to be in balance. So now, coming out of this 5-week cleanse, I'm actually appreciating everything so much more, and I'm recognizing just how much joy there is actually by having this multi-dimensional human experience, like being obviously able to meditate, being able to take the time to go out to be in the nature, but also being able to go back to Virgo, being a practical human. Like, yes, you need nutrition, yes, you need to take care of your body, because that's the thing that, again, like I can confess that I've always struggled with my body. I've always struggled with the body image. I never was able to be the skinny mini that the current society says that this is the perfection and stuff, which, like, as I keep saying, what is perfection anyway? But there's been pressure on all of us, we all that been kind of living in a society not somewhere removed from the world. Majority of us, especially with the Western world conditioning, we are all, well, most of us, I'm not saying everyone, and I know that some people don't have this issue, that they blessed genetically, that this is not an issue for them, but many of us struggle with it. And so did I. For most of my life, I struggled with my body image and learning to love my body and appreciate my body, and it's something that I still struggle even to this date. But now this week, it really taught me a lot of things. It taught me a lot of lessons, and I think it's really, and the reason why I'm mentioning this and making myself vulnerable here with regards to like how this has anything to do with astrology, because this week, with all these aspects that are going on and all these final squares, Venus, to Jupiter, Mars to Jupiter, tomorrow Venus to Uranus, then next week Saturday will be Mars to Uranus, and all this closing sextile. Sextiles are supportive aspect, but we need to take an action. It's not just gonna happen on its own. It's not like trine, because trine is a reward, something we already work towards. So we have all this support going on for us, like, energetically from the above. But we need to take an action on that. So with the squares, it's like, okay, what are we trying to release? So for me, because like I said, in my life, the biggest challenge and the biggest cause of suffering that I've had in this human incarnation, in my current incarnation, was the body. Like, I don't feel safe being in a body. I don't feel happy being in a body. I'm continuously struggling being a human and having to have to take care of the body. Like, I very often complain being a human, even a very spiritual human. I still fall for the complaints thing sometimes, that, oh my God, the human body takes so much maintenance, like, oh, you have to shave, you have to wash your hair, you have to do this, it takes so much time. Like, there are so many things. But like I said, this week when I removed the eating, and I had all this extra time, but so much joy was being lost. So this is what I mean, that it really helped me to see things a little bit differently. And like I said, I had never done a cleanse in my life before. I've never done a detox, because I eat very simply. I'm quite strict, even though I know I don't look it, but I am very conscious of what I eat, because I come from a family that isn't. So anyway, so what this really taught me this week was that really everything in life has to be in balance, and we really don't know how much things mean to us until they're gone. And it doesn't have to be just food, it could be anything that until it's not there anymore, that we don't know how much we really rely on that, or how much joy and happiness came from that, or how much it actually gave us a sense of whatever, satisfaction, comfort, whatever it is. And I'm not saying that, go and comfort it. Like, this is, like I said, this is a very sensitive subject. And I know for a lot of people, this is a sensitive subject, but because we are now at the stage where we are invited to release a lot of things. And as I keep saying all the time, with regards to the inner child healing and the ancestor healing and how they are connected, I come from a family where people struggle with obesity. Like, almost most people in my family had a problem with weight. So this is something that is not just my story. This is something that's been transferred from generation to generation. So that's why this particular sensitive subject has been really popping up on my radar. It really became very present in my life, because I know there is a lot that needs to be healed with regards to this subject. And I actually, in one meditation, I even had a vision that helped me to understand my relationship to my body better with regards to what happened in my past lifetimes. So I have a deeper understanding why all this is, but now it's my responsibility to heal it, to transmute this energy. And it's a step-by-step process, because, as I said before, you cannot build a Rome in a week. You cannot make all these changes in one day. But it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's a relationship, like people who are continuous people pleasers, and then they are recovering people's pleasers, and it's so easy to fall into the same pattern. Or then it's like, again, it's not about beating ourselves up. It's about being proud that we tried, that we've gone that far. And that's another thing, like how far we've gone, because now we are in a Pisces season, and Pisces season is all about the culmination. It's about the totality of everything that came before. And with every Pisces, it's not just about the end of the astrological year that was just before, like from, in this case, the one that started in March 2023 and it's going to end now, but it's about everything that came before. Just like I keep saying with regards to us as who we are in this incarnation, it's the totality of everything we've been before, all our past lives, all our ancestor lives, because it's all being passed on, all our collective imprints, everything is a totality of everything that came before. Every new beginning contains the totality of everything that came before, even though we all here to learn new lessons or work on the old ones, or whatever it is that the soul came here to experience, but we have the memory of that which came before. So now, being in the Pisces season with all the aspects that are going on, plus with the illumination that we just had last weekend with the full moon in Virgo, which, like I said, a lot of traumas were being stirred up, a lot of things, a lot of topics. So of course, for me, the biggest trauma that I have is the one with body image and my relationship to my body and relationship to food and relationship to being human, the opposition between Pisces and Virgo. The Virgo looks at Pisces and say, Pisces, you're perfect, you are spirit, I want to be like you. But it cannot be so, because we are having a human experience. There has to be a balance. And like I said, yes, the soul wants to be present, it wants to be present in our life, in our human experience, but we still need to take care of the vessel. Because if we don't, and that's also like, yes, I can meditate all I want, and some people will say like, oh yeah, with hunger you can maybe channel better or whatever, but actually I haven't had that experience. Actually I've been because of course the brain needs substance. It needs a substance, even though a lot of things are not coming from the brain. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, without getting too tangled up, is that there always has to be a balance. And this is something that I was really exploring this week, because every time, even though there was no oppositions, interestingly enough, apart from that full moon in Virgo, everything always is trying to go back to the balance point, always. So every time we have a conjunction is a beginning of a new cycle, ending of one, beginning of another, and then all the other aspects are just showing us where we are in the cycle. But at the end of the day, everything just wants to come back to harmony and balance. It's like the still point, the center point is exactly that, because all the astrological zodiacal signs, they come in opposition with another one. Even though I know there are a lot of people that asking me questions about what about the third sign of the astrological wheel, and I'm like, well, I have no planets in Virgo, so I don't really think about that much. And for me, in everything is always in balance. So I'm not saying anyway, I don't even want to go into that subject, but the way the zodiacal wheel works at the moment makes perfect sense. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it makes sense. And I guess where we are in our evolutionary journey right now, this is what we need. I'm not saying that there are not more. There are always new planets, new constellations, new asteroids. There are always new things being discovered. And I also feel that as we go with time, the astrology also will change. I mean, it's already changed. We have like what I work with, evolutionary astrology, is only been around since 70s. It's been around, like literally it's been around since Chiron was discovered. It's interesting because, of course, Chiron is the wounded healer, is the collective wounding that we are trying to heal. And evolutionary astrology is definitely supporting that process, because it's helping us to go beyond. It's helping us to understand like the deeper concepts of things. But even that will change. And I even said that before, that by the time Pluto is done with Aquarius or Pisces, maybe there won't even be evolutionary astrology no more, because it won't be needed, because people will feel empowered, because that's the whole point of the game, for people to become empowered, to understand themselves and to tune into their own guidance. And they won't need another person to necessarily assist them in that. They will just do it themselves. But right now everything is how it is, exactly because that is how it has to be. And with all these aspects, and being in Pisces season and nearing the end of the astrological year, all the things that are unhealed are coming to the surface. And like I said, for me personally, and I know that for a lot of people are different things, and people might even look at my life and think, well, those are champagne problems, I have much bigger problem than this. But for me, this is something that's always been a struggle. And I know now, as we are trying to let go of the conditioning of the past, let go of the of the old karma, and release the patterns, the outdated patterns, so we can create space for the new energy to come in, and also to transmute this that is still making us feel disempowered, this like an Achilles spot or whatever it is. These things are coming up. They are becoming very present. They are becoming really in our face. And then we do what we can to correct them. So would I have had not this week experience of this cleanse, of this detox, I wouldn't feel the way I feel now. I would still just struggle judging myself, looking in a mirror, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not really happy with what I see, whatever. But because I've had this experience, and I've come through with the realization I did, the perspective is changing for me. And like, I have multiple ideas about how am I going to call this video, but one thing that really is popping in for me is this law of cause and effect. So, we always experience the results of our manifestation, right? The cause of effect, we cause something and then there is an effect, there is a consequence, right? So I really feel that this is such a good learning curve, such a good opportunity for growth for all of us, where we are experiencing these lessons, re-experiencing these lessons, this opportunity to look at these patterns and these things that no longer serve us. Like, how is that serving me even, being, in the position, I mean, I wouldn't call it a position, but sharing what I'm sharing, and then me, myself, like having, these struggles myself, which again, nobody's perfect and we all working on something and transmuting something. And I have North Node in Taurus. This is exactly what I came here to resolve. This is exactly what I came here to learn, how to be human, how to embrace the body, the material, the sense of self-love, the sense of trust within oneself. And I feel that that's such an important topic because, of course, like with the North Node in Taurus, like everybody with North Node in Taurus, we had the nodal return, like in the past year and a half, whenever it was for you. But while the North Node was in Taurus since January 2022 until July 2023, I had mine in fall 2022, I believe it was, late summer, early fall. I don't remember. I think it was around the time my nephew was born. So I think it was literally like September 2022, if I remember correctly. I wasn't so tuned into everyday transits at that stage, so I can't tell you the exact date. But this is where I always tell my clients that when there is a nodal return in your chart, it's like a cosmic reset. That the universe is like using a defibrillator and saying, okay, this is what you came here to do. The South Node is what we are working on. This is something which we have a totality of understanding, where we came from, our upbringing, our families, our past lives, all that, the memory of the previous. And then the North Node, what is the potential, the potential where we're trying to go. And everybody's got a South Node, North Node somewhere, right, in their chart. Also the house and, all that, that all has influence. So it's not just to be taken out of context and look into in separation. But in this case, when I'm looking at it in separation with the Taurus, and I mean, my Taurus, as I mentioned, is intercepted in the third house ruled by Aries. And Mars is on 29 degrees of Taurus. So it's definitely a good time for me in this lifetime with the 29 degrees that, hey man, you need to change this. You have totality of understanding what all this represents, what all this means, what all this meant for everyone and everything that came before you. And it's time to change it. It's time to stop being in war with yourself. And this is something that I talk strongly about. I talk strongly about in my video. Where it really is time for us to come to peace with who we are. It doesn't mean that we cannot always improve. It doesn't mean that we cannot change things, and we are continuously growing and evolving. And as long as there is a movement, it's good, even if sometimes we have to take few steps back before we go forward. Like me last year, like after half of my life going back to my parents, I mean, even though it was only for 2 months, but still, like it's sometimes we have to go back in order to go forward. It's like when we pull in the arrow, right? We need to pull it all the way back before it shoots all the way forward. And that's life, that's life. And I think it's really, especially now with everything that's going on astrological, and like with these sextiles to North Node, sextiles to Chiron, this is such a beautiful opportunity, I mean by Venus, and then it's gonna be Mars. This is such a beautiful opportunity to really heal these things, like for all these things that became conscious to us and illuminated to us through this Virgo full moon. And I mean, it doesn't get lost on me, Virgo, because Virgo is all about diet. Like that's what I started. It's all about cleansing and diet and cleaning and detoxing. It's all Virgo. And the Pisces is about the release, because does this actually still hold meaning? Does this hold a meaning to you? Does it hold a meaning to me? And Virgo rules my 8th house. This is where my sense of empowerment, disempowerment comes from. And I experience, I mean, it's much better now. Like I don't care so much, but oh my God, when I worked on the cruise ships, and so many times I got judged, like people would literally, and I mean, I don't know, like obviously guys, if you worked on a cruise ship, you would probably have had this experience, but as a crew, in some cruise ships you do have the privilege to eat in a guest buffet, not always in the higher scale cruise lines you don't, but in some that I worked for, we had that privilege, so I was able to eat in a guest buffet, and the amount of time I was being judged for what was on my plate or how much of it was on my plate, and it would really upset me. It would really upset me. I would take it so personally, and I never heard anybody else getting the same comments. It was literally just me, you know. So like literally a random person would come around and look at my plate and start commenting, and I was like, well, I don't go around commenting what you have on your plate or how much of it, you know, and stuff like that. So, and it was, I really took it personally a lot, and now I can look back and understand that, well, this was universe presenting me with the same opportunity over and over and over again to actually own it, to just say like, yeah, and what, you know, and what, and not take it so personally. And this is something that I really had to learn through life. And yeah, like, I mean, this, I'm really sorry, and this is probably very boring for most people, so if it is, don't worry about just tuning out, but this is such a big topic for me, because this is my life, and I'm sharing how these energies are showing for me. So for you it could be through relationships, you know, relational pattern that you might be experiencing. I never been much of a people pleaser, so I have nothing in Libra, so I'm kind of like, okay, that's why I have so many Libras around me. Most of my friends, my sister is a double Libra. She was born on a new moon in Libra, sun and moon in Libra. My brother is a Libra. I have so many Libras in my life, but I have nothing in Libra. I'm literally like, meh, you know, I have things in Aries. I have nothing in Libra. So this was not my struggle. This, you know, for me, the struggle is the Taurus thing. The Taurus thing is a struggle for me. This is something that I've been learning, and especially with Jupiter squaring my nodes, and Jupiter is all about the stories. This is what I keep saying. That's why, you know, like people even say that, well, why would I go to someone whose life is so screwed up? And I even said that to my twin flame, my ex-boyfriend, before I actually started doing astrology professionally. I was like, how can I help someone? Look at my life, you know, it's such a mess. And he said, that's why, because you understand. Because like what he said was that, well, I never would want to go to a, I don't know, like a family or a relationship counselor who never had any problem in relationship, because how would they be able to relate? How would they understand me? How would they know what does or doesn't work and stuff? Like for example, well, yeah, he said that I would never go to a, you know, someone who doesn't have any experience, like actual life experience in that field, because how can they then, you know, resonate? How can they understand what, you know, it's all theory for them. And I'm like, yeah, with everything that I've gone through my life, even though I know on the surface it looks like, oh my God, what is she on about? She has no kids, nothing to worry about, no husband. She doesn't even have a home to clean up, you know, but everything's got polarities, you know, there is positive and negative to everything. So, you know, everything is just most of the time taken at the face value. But I mean, I'm really happy with the choices I have made, and I'm not saying that I would have made different choices. I wouldn't have changed anything, because it brought me exactly to the moment I am sharing with you these things right now, and that's exactly what I want to be right now. Is it where I want to be 1 year from now? Probably not. But this is what life is a continuous growth and evolving. However, I've always, you know, I've definitely, even though I have nothing in Virgo, but my Virgo is in my, like I said, it rules my 8th house. I've always struggled. I always struggled with this, like expecting too much from myself, because this is the environment I came from too. You know, like I was brought up in communism. Like there was a very, you know, and for many people who are from Eastern Europe and were born in 80s during communism and stuff, they can definitely probably resonate that there was so much expectation, like really like strict upbringing. Like our parents, of course, came from similar mold, so they just, you know, they thought that that was the way, like very hard expectation. And one thing that I also remember is that I was always a straight A student, always. I never went to college because I didn't want to. There was nothing exciting for me to study in Slovakia at that time when I was 19 years old. So I went to England. However, I always been straight A student, and I would take it again. I would like literally be so upset if I got anything less than A. And I remember again, like having Leo in 7th house, and my sun is in Taurus with the North Node, with the Mars on 29 degrees. I never got any validation for it. Never. Like, I tried everything possible for my parents to validate me. I tried to be perfect. Like I said, I had eating disorder. I tried to be skinny. I was the best student in my entire college, well, high school, in American terms, in high school. And it meant nothing. And my brothers, they didn't even study. They didn't care. I was studying all the time, my nose in the books. I didn't like even had a boyfriend until I was 19 years old, until I was out of school. So I was like fully dedicated to that. I never got a validation, never, ever, ever. And this is what I mean. This is how I had to go through it myself. I had to learn hard way. I had to have the hero's journey experience, this full moon in Virgo that's illuminating it. I guess that's why I have to talk about this right now. Just put my heart on the chopping board for you guys. Yeah, I had to learn because that's exactly what I then shared. I already shared that this is the reason why I was attracting all these unavailable men, all these men that I wanted them to see me, and of course they wouldn't. So the subconscious was creating this trap for me that, yeah, you're gonna want to attract the people that will never see you, that will never validate you, that will never appreciate you for who you are, because you need to learn to do it yourself, right? So this is why I was born into the family, country, environment, and religion and all that, where I was never being seen for who I am. Aquarius rising here. Never anybody wanted to see or appreciate me being different. And I mean, as a child, of course, I cared because as children we want people to love us, we want to belong. And then, like I said, I kept repeating this pattern even later on in life, which created a lot of suffering, unnecessary suffering. But of course, nothing is ever wasted in universe, nothing is accident. So that's why, like, fast forward 38, 39 years, and I say, like, well, what do I have to help people with when my life is such a mess? Like, look at the state of it, like, could write a book. And and I guess that's why, because I can resonate with not everything, because like I said, there are experiences I haven't had in this life, even though I know I did in past lives. I never gave birth to child, I never was married, I never owned a house, I never had a long-term job or any of mortgage or any of these things. This is something that I very consciously avoided in this life. But there are a lot of things that I can resonate with people, and it's because I am going through it myself, and I'm doing my best, every day, and going through this fool's journey, hero's journey. And like I said, the astrology is showing up differently in each other's lives, and this is how this particular energy has been manifesting in my life. So it was an opportunity for reconnection, like the spirit said to me when I channeled for myself. Yeah, it gives you an opportunity for a reset. And I thought, like, okay, yeah, great, I'm gonna lose a lot of weight, that's gonna be great reset, I'm gonna look great, and I'm like, no, that's not what's gonna take place. Actually, I didn't lose any weight at all, but it was more this mindset that got reset, which is about, like, well, like, this is what I already talked about, how much appreciation we give to our feet, for carrying us every day. And there is always just this thing that we look at that are not perfect, like, yeah, I wish my hair was like this, or my like, whatever it is, like, we look at the things that only we know that are so imperfect. Most people don't even notice until most of the time we point them out. And we always just look at that. Like, not many people, I'm not saying not everyone, but not many people actually focus on the things that are good about them, because this is how we condition. This is like, we always, not always, most of the time, we are being conditioned to look at our imperfections, at what is wrong with us, right? And then try to fix it, try to correct it in a way that is being projected by someone else to say, this is the way how it should be. So this week, going through all this, and obviously having a lot more time to, digesting and digest, quote unquote, to think about it, and to feel into it, and to meditate on. I really, like, there were really some really shifts that just clicked in my brain, things that really changed for me with regards to how I perceive these things. And like I keep saying, and this is something that is coming through for me all the time, life is really short, it is really, really short. And like I said, this week I did actually go for a massage, so another expression of Taurus, which I greatly enjoyed. I treated myself to 90 minutes because I'm like, okay, if I'm not eating, I want a massage, then I want to treat myself to something. But I said, like, well, but why don't I treat myself to these things more often? These things are important to me. I carry a lot of stress, I carry a lot of Even though I do a lot of cleansing and I do a lot of rituals around my readings and stuff, but still there is a lot that I carry. That's why I guess I was born a Taurus sun, because I have the shoulders for it to carry a lot of stuff, to carry all this stuff from my family, lineage, to them trying to, transmute and let go. So anyway, so I did treat myself to massage, but like I said, I really have a much deeper appreciation and a gratitude for the things that I actually do enjoy, the things that I do enjoy. And also this week, again, it became very present for me that how do I want the rest of my life? Okay, well, we don't need to go all the way, God knows to what point that is, because none of us really knows on a human level. But what do I want going forward my life to look like? Do I want it to be like this? Do I want to have these experiences? Do I want to work like this? And like just these questions, like asking myself these questions, so actually be able to reconnect with myself and my values and what all these things mean. So yes, it starts with the diet, which is this Virgo full moon, but also it's because of the topics that are unhealed for me, for me personally. But then with all these squares and the sextiles, the closing sextile, closing squares, closing sextile, these are all indicating. So square is before the closing sextile. You have the last square, last quarter square, and then you have the last sextile, and then is the conjunction, which is the end of the cycle, beginning of the cycle. All this is the ending. Of course, we had the conjunctions too, which is representing a new beginning with regards to Mercury, Sun, and Saturn in Pisces, because we are redefining reality. This is not about what somebody else expects or somebody else wants, but how do you feel about your life? What do you want your life to be? What does it mean to you? And this week I had the opportunity to sit with it. What does this mean for me? Like, what do I want? What do I appreciate? What matters to me? So, for example, going back to this food topic, which the most video is about, like, I'm in Mexico only for another 7 weeks. I can't believe how fast it's gone, even though I feel like I've been here forever and I feel like I've gone a long way. Like, when I look back at it, when I arrived in November and the state I was in, of course, I felt very depleted after staying with my family for a prolonged period of time and stuff. Which, that's the way it is. They are here to teach me something. They are not to change. And I love and respect them for who they are, because this is the role I designated to them and they play it very well. And perhaps they will change, perhaps they won't, but it doesn't matter. It's nothing to do with me. It's to do with their own path. So I understand that I can have a love, respect, appreciation, forgiveness, compassion, everything. But I also understand what I need in that equation. And I know that if I stay around these people that are my family for a prolonged period of time with their habits and the way they are and their journey, which is not in alignment with who I am and my journey, then I will hold consequences for that, because there is just certain, and I could be wrong in this, but this is my experience, that if we expose ourselves to something that is detrimental to us for a prolonged period of time over and over and over again, eventually it will deplete us. Eventually, it doesn't matter how much protection, how much you meditate and stuff, which yes, like we need to be able to find a balance no matter what's happening externally, but I don't think this is designed to be like a prolonged period of time in one situation, right? Because then obviously we are still humans and we get affected. So anyway, why did I even go to that direction? Okay, so when I came here in November, which I shared, I was extremely depleted. I completely abandoned myself because of the circumstances. And I love my nephews. I love spending time with them. And it wasn't so much about people pleasing, because I really do appreciate, being around my baby nephews. I have very strong connection, especially with my youngest nephew. But I couldn't achieve the balance. Same thing for when I was in Bulgaria last summer. I had no balance in my life. I was doing literally like at least 2 readings every single day for almost 2 months straight. Like literally no break, no weekends break, no nothing break, just continuous work. And I got completely depleted. Then I got depleted because of this relational dynamic. Like there was no balance. And then I came here and I was absolutely like completely depleted. Like literally I didn't feel this depleted since I left, since I left here in May, a year ago in May, because I was here also for the winter 22 to 23. And then, I can look back now because we are already in March. I'm leaving at the end of next month after my solar return. And I can see how far I've gone, how much changes I did manage to do. And this is, again, with the Pisces, we have the opportunity to not just look at like, oh yeah, what we need to release, what I've done wrong and what doesn't serve me, but how far you've come. You've come all the way from Aries, you come all the way to Pisces, and also to give ourselves an appreciation that yes, I've gone far, I've learned a lot, another cycle has ended and another cycle is going to begin, and what are the gifts that I'm taking with me. And again, being in Pisces season, Pisces is a very spiritual sign. What is the meaning? What is the meaning to everything? And that's the main message that was coming through yesterday when I was recording the astrological forecast, how important is to see the meaning, seeing the meaning. We need to see a meaning in everything. So even in this, me making a video about my diet for majority of the time, well, what was the meaning for me? And just because it looks different for you, there is still a meaning, like no matter what it is, it doesn't matter how is it showing up, because in essence, and this is something that I literally see all the time with my clients, with my friends, yes, the details of the experience are unique to you because you are a unique expression of the source. You have your own life and you have your own stage, through which you operate, through which you have in this human experience. But in essence, it's not so different. The core emotion, the energy we're working with is not so different. So I'm pretty sure that last week things got stirred up, like I was saying in my last videos last weekend. Things were brought up to the level of our consciousness, things that are unhealed, things became conscious, many woundings very likely because of the recent Chiron North Node conjunction that is now in a new phase. They have a new cycle beginning between the two of them. And as I mentioned, the next conjunction will be 2038, 39 in two signs, Gemini and Cancer. Cancer and Gemini, because the second one will be when Chiron goes retrograde. So we are learning about ourselves. We are healing the past identities of everything that came before, and this is the cycle that began that. So there is a lot of transmutation going on for all of us. So again, going to, like what might have been brought to the surface of our consciousness and revealed to us during the full moon in Virgo, which is a midpoint. The cycle will actually end in September, just before the eclipses in autumn. And, the next eclipse after that will be the full moon in Pisces, lunar eclipse, which is what I covered yesterday in my video. Like I said, you can tune in tomorrow if you would like to hear more. This is a midpoint. So what adjustments are we making? Again, midpoint is a balance, is the opposition, is the balance. What do we need to adjust? What energy do we need to shift in our life to bring this balance into our life? Because this is the only way we're going to find a sense of peace. Because otherwise, if there is no balance, we don't feel that there is much of a peace going on, because it's always an extreme, one polarity or the other. It's always polarized. So this is what I've been trying to understand, I believe, this week, with the pattern that's been revealed to me for my personal experience to work with, and to be able to balance them, to transmute them, to have a different appreciation for myself, different approach to how I feed myself. And also a very good comment that came from my friend was that you don't feed yourself with love, like that was such a aha moment for me, because she was like, well, you might feed yourself with the right food, but you don't feed yourself with love. And how many of us are not doing that? How many of us are not feeding ourselves with love? Don't give ourselves what we need. Like I said, like with this massage, I had 2 massages in like 2 weeks. But this is the first time I went for massage since I've been here. Literally, I've been here for over 4 months. And I was like, well, why did I wait that long? Like, why do we not give ourselves what we need? And this is, I know people might say, well, this is what you've been talking about all along. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm also human, and I'm also learning these things. It's not like I have it figured out, especially with my North Node in Taurus. Like, I don't have it figured out. Like, I'm learning, I understand all the spiritual things. Like, I have much deeper understanding of that. But being a human, this is where I really struggle. This is not easy for me, which I know is a story. It's a story that I can release and let go of and actually learn to embody that North Node and say, no, I enjoy being human. It's actually great. It's a great adventure. And it's, again, whatever we believe, we find a proof for. So we have to be conscious on, what we believe, what we focus on, because then we manifest it, we attract it into our life. And this is a learning curve for me too. I'm also having a human experience just like everyone else. It doesn't matter what gifts you have. Even the psychics that I came across, everybody is on their own hero's journey. Everybody is learning something. Everybody came here to work on something. No, even the most I don't know, obviously, the biography of Eckhart Tolle, but I know even people like Lee Harris or Teal Swan or other people that, that I follow, everybody has to go through their own things and are still going through things. Like, nobody's spared, because while we are alive, while we are in the physical, body, we here to learn, we here to work on things, our own and also on a collective level, because everything is connected, everything is a ripple effect. So anyway, however it has shown up for you last weekend, whatever got stirred up to the surface, and then you had to work with this week to integrate, because of course now is it's going to be the square, the last quarter square, because the moon was in Virgo, right? And now the moon is in Sagittarius. So this is the last quarter square before the new moon. So this is the pressure that is being put on us with regards to what are we releasing? What are we releasing so we can let it go? Because then when it's the new moon next weekend, new moon in Pisces, the cycle will end and a new cycle will begin. But of course, with regards to the Pisces topic, the new moon in Pisces, we are closing a cycle that started a year ago during the new moon in Pisces then, because new moon, full moon is not beginning and end. Full moon is just a midpoint. It's a midpoint. It's the balancing point. It's the point of integration and reevaluation and balancing. It's not the point of culmination. So this is where I feel that this week we were able to see, okay, what needs balancing, what needs changing. And now it's the square. It's like, okay, what do we need to release to prepare for this new moon in Pisces, which is the last lunation of this astrological year, because then we'll have equinox and the next lunation after that will be the eclipse and then the show will begin again in the sign of Aries, which is all about fire and creativity and what are we birthing, what we are what we are bringing into manifestation. So that's what it is. So anyway, guys, I'm going to read what I got, what message I got, but then I'm gonna close it at that, because I don't know how much how many people are still watching and how much help anybody found in this video, me sharing about my diet or whatever. But yeah, perhaps you can resonate, and if not through the same experience, because I don't think everybody was doing a cleanse this week, even though I know that many people were, because of the nature of the energy, Virgo full moon and Pisces season. I know for a lot of people it was like, okay, let's let something go, even from our physical. But this could also be showing up in different areas of your life, and whatever it was exactly what you needed to experience, what you needed to look at and make adjustments through or at. And also, what is the learning? What is the meaning? So then we don't have to repeat the same exam. We pass, right? But if we didn't, it's okay, because there is a reason for everything. And, you are on your own individual path, and it's perfect for you, whatever you're going through. So anyway, guys, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to close at that, and that's it. So I asked my spirit guides, what should I share today? So balance, joy, and harmony is what most are seeking through their lives. Behind all of those is the desire for peace and fulfillment. However, most are seeking in the wrong places, the places of temporary pleasures and temporary escapes. You'll always have to face that which you are running away from. You'll always have to experience the results of your own manifestations. It's all about learning, all about growth and expansion. That's what you are there to do, to grow as a soul and a unique expression of the source, and to help expand the collective consciousness. There's a lot of healing taking place there on planet Earth right now. Lots of purging of the past. The past has to come out, the pus has to come out, the infection has to be healed before it can get better. This is happening on the individual and collective level. Nearing the end of the astrological year, being in the Pisces season, all the manifestations of the past cycles are becoming known and present. This is a time of healing and letting go. Discerning what has a value to carry into the next cycle, beginning with equinox and the Aries season, and what wants to be released back to the source. The energy will be recycled and reborn. Nothing is ever wasted in the universe. Is the law of conservation. You are brave souls being incarnated now in these transformative times of rapid change and awakening. Those are challenging but also the most exciting times to be alive. Lots of support is available and easily accessible to you. The veils between the visible and invisible worlds are thinning, and they are exceptionally thin now in the Pisces season, approaching the new moon next week. You are all being reborn. The old identities are undergoing a huge process of metamorphosis right now. The old karmic debts and contracts are dissolving. You are releasing the past and your obligations to the old versions of yourself, of you, like the versions of who you were before. You're stepping into your own power, into the role of conscious creators, becoming the leaders and pioneers of this new energy, new consciousness that's being birthed. The cycles are ending, new cycles are beginning, some have already begun. It's a never-ending process of rebirth. The energy is always in the state of transformation and transmutation. It's just becoming more obvious to you now because the time had sped up and you're experiencing reality differently. Your body and mind are being rewired and recalibrated, adjusted to this change. You'll experience more of it, you'll understand more as the time goes on. Now you are in the seeding stage. By summer, these seeds will have grown into what they are meant to be. Focus on yourselves and your own journey. Watch out for the triggers and areas of your life that are out of balance. Make simple and continuous adjustments to bring you closer to the point of balance. This is a time for healing, releasing, and letting go. The new will begin soon enough. This is going to be another fast month as the two before were. But as the end of March, as of the end of March, things will start moving rapidly forward once again. All that fire of Aries will want to be used to create something new. The eclipses will bring a push into a new direction, and the rebirth will truly begin to manifest. Everything is happening exactly as it needs to for the change to take place, as it's necessary for the evolution to continue on. There are no mistakes and nothing is happening at random or by accidents. Just go with the flow of things, remain flexible and open-minded, and you'll find plenty to celebrate and feel excited about. A new adventure is on the horizon. Spring represents a new cycle of life, and this spring is going to be very powerful. Enjoy and appreciate the beauty around you. There's plenty to be grateful for on planet Earth. Remember, what you focus on is what you attract more of. So focus on beauty, joy, happiness, and gratitude, and you'll experience more of it. Life is an adventure, is full of beauty and miracles. May the joy, love, and beauty be with you always. Okay, so that's it. I managed to make it under an hour, so I'm gonna leave it at this. I wish you a beautiful weekend, and I'll speak to you again soon. And watch out for the astrological forecast that will be released tomorrow on Sunday. Okay, much love. See you next week, guys. Bye.